Warm welcome to your Barbados Today Morning news update for Monday, August 9th. The Democratic Labour Party is seeking answers from government about the state of affairs at the country's primary healthcare institution. DLP President Verla de Pisa wants to know whether the Queen Elizabeth Hospital has lost its accreditation, as well as an update on the state of the hospital's equipment. De Pisa made the queries as she addressed the DLP's Christchurch West branch meeting last evening.
In these COVID times, we need to know what is going on with our healthcare. We need to understand what happened yesterday and today. Please clarify for us what is happening with the nurses at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And while you are at it, can you please tell us whether or not the Queen Elizabeth Hospital has lost its accreditation? Because that is the information being received. You say you can walk and chew gum? Show us that you can walk and chew gum. Tell us that you didn't drop the ball on OECD designation and also drop the ball on the QEH designation, and tell us what else you dropped the ball on whilst you are at it. Is it correct, the information being received, that apart from losing accreditation, machinery is breaking down at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital because it is not being serviced?
Yet another plea for residents to get vaccinated against COVID-19. This time it's coming from Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn. Addressing a Barbados Labour Party Christchurch East Central branch meeting last evening, Strawn said the country could not afford to keep opening and closing when there are spikes in cases.
For our own mental health, for our own sense of well-being, certainly from a financial and economic perspective, we have to work together in order to ensure that we can defeat COVID. And therefore, following the protocols and getting vaccinated as soon as vaccines become available for Barbadians to participate will help us to be able to keep Barbadians safe on the one hand, but also to ensure that with the resumption of tourism and that with the building up of a new sector, that we can do so in a space that we're not starting and stopping. Because every time you start and stop, it means you gotta put in fresh the same work, or new work, to achieve the same objective, which really becomes then a little counterproductive, and it doesn't really make sense for any business to be able to survive in such an environment.
Meanwhile, leaders in Barbados and CARICOM are again being warned against making COVID-19 vaccines mandatory. The warning from Brother Student Minister in the Nation of Islam Abdul Rahman came on the weekend during a march by hundreds of people to highlight their concerns. Rama said any such move would be met with strong resistance.
We strongly urge Prime Minister Motley to refuse from administering any experimental medication to our children. In addition, we call on the government of Barbados for transparency in making all information public regarding any deaths, injuries, anaphylactic reactions that have happened in Barbados as a result of taking the COVID vaccine. Our Minister of Health has a duty and a responsibility to inform the public of this important information so that the public can make an informed choice. And please, respect our right of choice. We are no longer colonial subjects and slaves. We are, hear me well, we are a proud, free and independent people.
Now to your COVID-19 update. Barbados recorded 7 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday. The cases consisted of 2 males and 5 females, were identified out of the 1,168 tests carried out by the Barbados Dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. The country has recorded a total of 4,471 confirmed cases of the viral illness since March last year. There have been 48 deaths. In other news this Monday, Housing Minister Dr. William Duguid says 81% of houses damaged by Hurricane Elsa and a freak storm recently have been assessed. He reported that out of the 2,077 houses earmarked to be assessed, 1,681 have been completed.
So far, we have been able to complete 81% of all the assessments of the damages that have happened, which is of the 2,077 assessments, 81% have actually been completed. And of those 81%, what we found so far is 404 houses will be total rebuilds and 1,191 will be house repairs. So, and that is with 80% completed. So with that, we anticipate that we'll probably be in the 480 range when we've done 100% of the assessments. So that's the first thing that I want to update everyone. We've completed about, St. Peter is complete, St. Andrew is complete, St. Joseph is complete, and we're very close to completing the other parishes very, very shortly. So
there's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a 56-year-old woman is expected to appear in court today to face a charge of unlawfully and maliciously wounding Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. She is Anna Mae Lewis, a vendor from the community of Lelu. Reports say a second person is also likely to be charged. The Prime Minister suffered a concussion after being hit with an object in the head on Thursday as he was making his way into Parliament. The incident occurred during protests against the Public Health Act. Over in Antigua and Barbuda, law enforcers used tear gas to disperse self-proclaimed freedom fighters in the heart of St. John's on Sunday. More from ABS News.
Tensions were high on Market Street on Sunday as over 100 protesters under the banner of the freedom fighters took to the streets for their voices to be heard. However, ABS understands protesters did not receive permission for the event. Officers donned in riot gear stood at the other end of the street. A stalemate began. Multiple warnings were issued: disperse or be tear-gassed. With both sides refusing to give an inch, chaos quickly ensued. As the smoke from tear gas canisters blanketed the area, protesters were pushed further down Market Street, but not before returning fire with glass bottles and tossing the tear gas canisters back at the officers. They were pursued past Public Market to the bottom of Market Street. Placards were discarded as eyes filled with tears and breathing became difficult.
And finally, officials in Afghanistan say Taliban fighters have taken over 2 provincial capitals as the insurgents intensified pressure on the north and threatened further cities. More in this report from Reuters TV.
The Taliban offensive across Afghanistan has now seen the group seize control of several key official buildings in the city of Kunduz, leaving only the city's airport and a military base in control of the government. That's according to a local politician. This video, released by the Taliban, is said to show its fighters walking through the police headquarters there. The politician told Reuters that militants have also taken control of government buildings in another city, the capital of Saripol province. Similar reports are coming from at least 2 other cities as well. The news comes only a day after the funeral of a senior spokesperson for President Ashraf Ghani's government who was assassinated by the Taliban. In recent days, the Taliban have taken a 3rd city, Zaranj, the first provincial capital seized by the group in years, and there are hundreds of people stuck on the border with Pakistan, which was closed after the Taliban took control of a crossing there last month. Afghan security forces report heavy fighting in Kunduz, a strategic location and home to 270,000 people. The Taliban's advance has gained momentum as American and allied forces withdraw from the country.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.